accounting, first and foremost, needs to be taken care of. A lot of third-party property managers, full service, if you're getting that, they're taking care of distributions, they're collecting rent, they're doing all of your CAM reconciliation. I mean, it's some nasty accounting if you don't know what to do. And you've got to be able to have somebody that does that regularly, that you don't have to worry about it. Because we know in commercial real estate, $1 lost is worth about $12 in value, give or take, based on your cap rate. So if you have crappy accounting, your property is worth less. It's just a fact. Welcome back to another episode of How to Invest in Commercial Real Estate. You're buying a property. You're in the middle of due diligence right now. You're buying a property, and one of the first things you need to decide is who's going to manage that property. If you've been paying attention, you may have realized Criterion doesn't have a management arm. We don't manage our properties. We manage the manager, and it's a different approach. Joel at Precision Equity, they have a big management team. They manage all of their own stuff. So there's both ways to do it. I think we can touch on pros and cons of doing either or. And then I think really what we want to dive in on is, what are you looking for in a third-party property management company, right? Because a lot of people have them. A lot of people are not full-time in real estate. A lot of people are investors. A lot of people have a property or two on the side, still a commercial property. A lot of people are getting in and they don't have the infrastructure and the accounting team and the property managers. They don't have all of this stuff. So it's a path of least resistance. It's probably an advisable path. If you haven't managed property before, go hire a third-party property manager and at least just rob a ton of notes and systems off of them, because that's what you should be doing with everyone in your life is
Yeah, for sure. Most people just getting into the real estate game, there's not enough scale to have your own property management team. You'll need a property manager, you need leasing, you need bookkeeping, accounting, all of that stuff. And
that's so you're $150,000, $200,000 worth of salaries right there.
At least, more, maybe more. And so, yeah, Precision Equity, we do have our own in-house management team, but that was built over time and we have scale. Criterion is newer and you don't have all that infrastructure or employees. So it's easy to just say, okay, let's find good third-party property managers. So today's episode is, what are some things that you should be looking for when trying to choose a third-party manager?
Yeah, and it's
number one.
It's important.
So Braden, we've closed a bunch of deals lately. So you've been out there looking quite a bit, right? So how'd you go about it?
I have, yeah. So just this year alone, we've closed a deal in Wichita, which is 3 hours away from us. Deal in St. Louis,
deals,
7-8 hours away from us. A couple deals in St. Louis. You've got a deal in Atlanta, Stone Mountain.
Deal out of outside of New Orleans. So
deal outside of New Orleans. Yeah. So those are more difficult to manage. So for us, here's what I do. I'm going to walk you through the entire process. You ready? Pay attention.
Let's do it.
Pay attention. This is my favorite thing in the world. My favorite quote. We're going to put it up above. Google plus effort equals knowledge. What do? I go to my computer and I type in commercial property management companies, Stone Mountain, Georgia. 20 show up immediately. And I look through the websites. It seems ridiculous. Scanning through websites.
So something to combine with that is do the due diligence on Google, get your list, and then ask for recommendations from people that you know or trust in the market.
Sure. Yeah.
And see if they're on that list that you already looked up.
Right. You're doing all of these things. So like we have listing brokers. We use these guys with Marcus Millichap, Chris and Alex. We've bought several deals with them. The first thing I'm doing is, hey, Chris, you wanted me to buy this property. I love it. I'm buying it. It's in contract. I need somebody to manage it. Do you know who's managing it now? And would they be willing to stay on? Or if not, do you know somebody who would do a great job at managing this asset? What Chris is going to do, or your broker should do, is they see you're a buyer. They see you as, man, I'm going to get more business out of this guy. I'm going to sell him more deals. I need to take care of this guy. I need to help him out. So he's not going to give me a bad recommendation because he wants to sell me another deal. And he knows I'm going to go back to him and say, hey, Chris, your property manager sucked. Never recommended to anybody ever again.
It may discourage you from buying more in that market. And he doesn't want to do that. Or they don't want to do that. Yeah.
For sure. So you go Google, you go ask for the recommendations, and you come up with the short list. And what you need to be looking for right off the bat is infrastructure. Right off the bat. You can see it from the website. You can see it from who you're talking to. You can ask, a few questions. Like, tell me about your accounting department. How many, do I have a dedicated accounting controller? How many, accounting controllers do they have? Do you have a CPA? How long have you been doing this? Does anybody have a degree in accounting? Accounting, first and foremost, needs to be taken care of. A lot of third-party property managers, full service, if you're getting that, They're taking care of distributions. They're collecting rent. They're doing all of your CAM reconciliation. I mean, it's some nasty accounting if you don't know what to do. And you've got to be able to have somebody that does that regularly, that you don't have to worry about it. Because we know in commercial real estate, $1 lost is worth about $12 in value, give or take, based on your cap rate. So if you have crappy accounting, your property is worth less. It's just a fact.
Oh, and so to help with the accounting is they need to be really good at lease audits, because the lease audits will tell the accounting who's paying for what.
Yep.
What's the tenant's responsibility? What's your responsibility? And in addition to that, what do the CAM reconciliations look like? Because we won't get into exactly the nuances of CAM reconciliations, but that's what the tenant's obligations to pay are. And if you're not on top of that, then you won't charge the tenants what they need to pay, and you'll be out money. So the infrastructure with accounting, lease audits, and CAM reconciliations is a really good step to start on.
So, Braden, are there property management companies that are big companies that service the entire country, or is that mostly local companies?
I really don't like saying bad things on our podcast. So there is national property management companies. There's a lot of national companies. I personally stay away from them.
Okay, so it's not like you recommend, or in your history that you could, your experience, you could find one that could service all over the country.
I'd get a regional or a local. I mean, local, they cover within 30, 45 minutes, an hour, relatively close to their office, but they manage a lot of properties in that area. They know the busy streets. They know the best vendors. They've got relationships with roofing, hey, I think we've got a roof leak. We need to look. Oh yeah, I've got 5 roofers, that are on my short call list. We send them tons of work. They know me. I know them. You're getting the benefit of those relationships. So you need somebody that's in that market. I can't stress it enough.
It seems like with retail or commercial, it's more localized.
Yep.
And I think multifamily, there are bigger national management companies that maybe take a several state area or even a national area. So it does vary a little bit between multifamily and retail.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but generally speaking, we've had a lot of success with local or regional small mom and pop shops. They've got a brokerage. They own similar property, which is kind of another plus for me. If this guy owns a retail center that I maybe would have, it's like, I could have bought that. That's a good looking deal. It's got a good tenant base. I know that he's probably set up that as infrastructure to service his properties, right? And I want mine taken care of, hopefully they take care of theirs good. But I want mine taken care of like an owner would. Exactly. This is an owner. He knows what to look for. He knows, as an owner of a shopping center, if you walk up and there's trash everywhere, that's bad. If you walk up and the windows are disgusting, that's bad for leasing. If you walk up and the gutters are hanging down, that's bad for your tenants. You're not going to get the lease increases you want.
If they're a good owner operator, they're going to be maximizing cash flow, maximizing NOI. And so that's one great thing about having an owner that also does third party. Precision Equity, we do that. We own our own stuff, and in at least in Tulsa, we third party manage. And we manage those just like I do my own assets.
So that's great, because somebody can go to you, and if you're in Tulsa looking for a third-party property manager, if you're not in Tulsa and you need a third-party property manager in Tulsa, check out Precision and drive by their properties. And that's the biggest testament. It's better than any interview you could ever do is, hey, you own properties? I'd love to drive by them and see what they look like. Or if you're able to, if you're in the market, like St. Louis. We're not in St. Louis. We're in Tulsa. So if you can fly up to St. Louis, find a third-party property manager that owns a bunch of properties in St. Louis, and you go look at them, and they suck. Like, they're disgusting. They're covered in trash. The windows are dirty.
The landscaping isn't done. It's overgrown.
Yeah, you don't need to hire them. Immediate red flags.
Yeah.
This is the problem, dude. Your center looks like doo-doo.
Yeah.
It's not good. Not good.
So what all does the property manager have to do? I mean, to me, it seems like leases and take care of, when there's leaks in the roof or something. But what else are you looking for them to do?
Sure. I mean, you need somebody with a pleasing personality and great customer service. That's another really important one.
The tenants have to really like your property manager. Yeah. As the owner, you can be the bad guy.
Sure.
Because they can go to the tenant and they can say, hey, I couldn't get you that lease rate. The owner wants this. Yeah. So they're playing a little good cop, bad cop. But you want your property manager to have great relationships with the tenants. Tenants will be honest with them. They'll understand their business. You want a property manager that's going to know how the tenants are doing. Are they struggling? Are they doing great? That information will help me negotiate better leases if I know what condition their business is in. But you're not going to know that if you don't have a great on-site property manager that has a great relationship with them, having conversations, walking the units, showing up.
One of the systems in your management company, I know because I helped set it up, was you have to talk to every single tenant every single month and fill out a report. And that report is submitted. Imagine how valuable that is. Hey, so-and-so is going out of business. Hey, I've never seen a customer in that boba tea shop ever in my life. May have some red flags there. Oh, it looks like this person's bailing in the middle of the night. This person's got all sorts of garbage and riffraff and loitering, whatever it is. That's amazing information. It's going to tell you where to push, where to back off, when to start soft marketing a space before it's vacant. It's like, hey, this is going dark. We need to kick it over to the leasing guy and start to get some activity on it. A good property manager, they're your eyes and ears and hands on the ground.
So that's something you should ask when you're interviewing is, okay, what are the protocols you have in place? Are you doing tenant interviews once a month?
Yep.
Are you doing property walkthroughs once a week? Or maybe even twice a week to make sure there's no trash, how the landscaping looks, what's the parking lot doing? Those are all really good things to do. And even if they say, hey, this is our protocol and we do all these things, are they appropriately staffed? Because we've had third-party managers in the past where they knew all the things to do, they had all the protocols, but they would assign 10, 15 properties, 18 properties to one manager.
Oh, yeah. That's a good question. You need to ask that question.
How many properties per manager or how much square foot per manager are you assigning?
Yep.
Because if they're overloading their property managers, then the property manager won't be there on site. They'll I know I should go this week. I'll just go next week. And we would show up and there would be trash. There would be unhappy tenants. They haven't talked to the management in a while. And so it's not just the protocols. It's, okay, what level of staffing do they have and how many properties are they assigning to each property manager? And that kind of goes back to the accounting as well, is that if they have dedicated bookkeepers, how many properties are those bookkeepers taking care of at a time?
Yeah. And by this point, if I'm a third-party property manager and you've voiced all of these concerns and asked all of these questions, I think you care a lot. I think you care so much. I think I'm not going to get anything by this guy. I need to be on it. And I'm letting my other people know, because you can get that feeling from somebody. You have one or two conversations. You're like, man, that guy cares about his property. Do not mess it up. This other dude, forget about it. He's fine. He's about to die. Nobody's touched that property in 10 years. There's no excess money in the account. They kind of know these things. So we go in and we give them, hey, here's who we are as owners. We've got cash to fix things, right? We've got cash to lease space. We've got an amazing leasing broker. We're going to have you an amazing property management company. And if anything goes wrong at all, I need you to call me so we can fix it. They're excited to hear that because they want to run a good property. They're putting their sign in the front of this thing as advertising as, hey, I manage this property. Look how good it is and full it is. It's helping everyone. Yeah. Helping everyone at this point.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be a property manager with an owner who didn't want to spend any money, right?
It sucks.
You got your name on it and looks bad on you. So
it does. Another thing you need to be doing is you need to walk the property with the property management company. I'm a firm believer in this. You're going to see things, that you specifically, again, let's use Wichita as an example. It's 3.5 hours away. How often am I driving to Wichita?
Not many.
I mean, a few times a year. So if something's wrong when I go there, I want to have my property manager with me. Hey, I'm coming up to Wichita. I wanted to chat with you, just walk the property. Then I can say, hey, this pothole, let's get that fixed. This roof, I'm not feeling that. The windows, they're disgusting. Let's replace this landscaping, whatever it is. And you walk it with them, before, during, after. You're taking notes. You're comparing it.
One other thing I'd like to add is I am a negotiator, and I realize increasing rent is how I increase the value of my property. So I want someone that's both knowledgeable on market rents and aggressive in negotiations on lease renewals.
Yep.
And we have examples where we had property managers suggesting rents to me that were what I felt were too low. And they're the expert, not me. And then I would have to tell them, no, don't go at that level. Go up higher, go $1 higher, go $2 higher. And then they come back to me like, oh yeah, the tenant took it. And I'm thinking, yeah, but you should have been the one pushing the rent. I shouldn't have to tell you to increase the rent. That's your expertise. You should know, okay, market rent's moving up. Let's see how much we can get for the owner. Not what's the easiest to sign this deal up at. And that's a red flag for me. If they just want to be comfortable and not, make all the tenants too happy by just keeping them at the same rent, or, oh, they asked for a discount. I think we should give it to them.
Yeah.
I mean, no, I don't want, that's not going to be my first choice.
It's so easy to say that when it's somebody else's money, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
It's like, hey, this doesn't look good. We should fix it. Or, that perfect example. It's, hey, we should give this person a discount. They're so nice. We should give them a break. Sure, they're nice. I'm a nice guy too. Why don't you give me some money?
Yeah.
It doesn't work that way. So you need somebody with good customer service, but you also need somebody you're not just going to roll over on their back and say, okay, yeah, take it, whatever. Fine, you can have it.
Now, the ones that optimize both the property condition, but also the property's bottom line NOI.
So that brings me to a good point that, we could probably end on is we handle our own lease renewals. And I get asked why all the time, mainly from the third-party property management company that I'm hiring, and they want to do my lease renewals. And we've personally not had great experiences with them. Not our personal property management companies. It's not like I haven't had a bad experience with them renewing our leases because they don't renew our leases. I'm just saying we've had bad experiences in the past. And at the end of the day, you are the fiduciary as the owner. You are responsible for the cash. If the deal goes south and you lose everyone's money, nobody gives two shits who the third-party management company was. Nobody cares. If you did it yourself, it's worse. But if it's third-party, nobody cares. So do your job to manage them properly, right? Check in. The more information you have on your center, the better. Like the monthly tenant visits. That information is invaluable. It's so amazing, and it tells you everything you need to know. So in the beginning, when we hire a third-party property management company, we have weekly calls every single week. Hey, what's going on? What happened this week? What happened last week? What's going on tomorrow? Because it's different. How did your insurance get set up? What do we do about taxes? How do you like to accrue taxes on the P&L? Do you like it to have prepaid insurance and then have like this monthly? You need to have a lot of in-depth conversations.
Yeah, you'll need to talk about what do you want the reports to look like.
Sure. What reports do you want included? Do you want a general ledger? Do you want a copy of the reconciled bank statement? Do you want all of these things, right?
One thing I like to see is we establish a budget with the property management company, and then every month when there's a deviation from that property budget, is they tell me why.
It's a
what
variance
happened.
report.
Otherwise, I have to go back and wonder what happened. I have to ask them what happened. If they'll just include that in the report, now I don't need to call them for an hour knowing, okay, why were we under budget here? Why were we over budget here? So maybe that's the last point we talk about is just finding a property manager where they'll work with you to do it your way and to get the reports in a format that you like to see to help you optimize your property.
And it gets to a point, you build the relationship where it goes on autopilot, not in a bad way where nobody cares, but you're setting the budget at the beginning of the year and you're looking at variance reports. You're talking to them and they know what information you want to know. You have to build the relationship and you have to be able to get in and get your hands dirty, but at the same time, enable them to do their job, So third-party property managers, you have to have them unless you're managing it yourself. And if you're going to
buy out of state or out of town, you're going to have to hire a third party manager. We have our own property management. We still hire a third party when we're out of Tulsa, just because it's the only way to keep eyes and ears on that property on a daily, weekly basis.
Yeah, and it's built into the operations of the property, so it's not like you have this extra fee. You're paying some homeboy 4% and it's just coming straight out of your pocket. And you're like, man, I wish I didn't have to pay this. Well, you would still pay it to yourself, even if you did it yourself. It's just
and
now
have to pay employees to do it, so it's not like you're going to make a ton of money. It's all built into the model.
So it's wash. Yeah. Anyway, there's third-party management companies for every asset class. Obviously, today we dove into retail because we're buying so much retail. But if you have any specific questions on third-party property management companies, if you want recommendations on third-party property management companies, we're in a lot of states. We have a lot of relationships with those companies, and we have some good and some bad that we can tell you. So feel free to comment, like, and subscribe. Send us an email, and we'll give you that information for free because we're nice guys.
Yeah. Until next time.
Until next time on How to Invest in Commercial Real Estate.
Thanks, guys.
We will see you next week.